Take my word for it. I live there. Come to Florida. Get pre-approved right now with my guy Michael Kotze. Call him at 561-441-2730. He's got Choice Mortgage and a great real estate team. Get pre-approved right now. Michael Kotze, 561-441-2730. Buy in Florida right now. Don't wait. Save money on state taxes. Make your move today with Choice Mortgage. Trust me, Florida is waiting. This guy's so good, he did my commercials in Florida too. Mike Kotze, 561-441-2730. A ride.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. So Netflix is basically Santa this year. 2 NFL games on Christmas Day, streaming live. At 1 p.m. Eastern, it's Cowboys, Commanders. Then at 4:30, you've got Lions, Vikings. Midwest football, playoff stakes, and probably some snow. Watching holiday football is a tradition the whole family can enjoy. Open some gifts, grab some food, settle in, and watch NFL Live on Netflix this Christmas Day.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, December 11th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds today. High 39. Tonight and overnight, some clouds. Low 26, and then Friday sunshine, high 35. If you're walking out the door with us right now, it's 36 and cloudy in New Hyde Park out on Long Island. It's 33 and cloudy in Park Ridge over in New Jersey, and it's 35 and partly cloudy right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
Bullets fly outside a music studio in Newark. A hero in New Jersey ends up really being a zero. It is the most wonderful time of year for pickpockets. The MTA still trying to convince us that congestion pricing is great. And are you stealing items in the self-checkout line, too? All right, let's get into it at 5:01. Another shooting in Newark, this one at a recording studio. 2 people dead, 2 others injured. People who live and work on Clinton Avenue often hear music coming from this recording studio, but they say they can't remember any sort of violence outside of it. The gunfire drowning out the sound of the music last night.
You just see a few people going in and out, the studio. You hear a little music sometimes. So, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, so, no, never, no problems or nothing. I never seen no problems there, nothing.
The recording studio, Platinum Sound, is on the ground level of an apartment building. It's between a hair salon and a supermarket. Newark police just flooding into this area after the gunfire. This was about 8 o'clock last night. Law enforcement sources say 1 man was shot dead. Another was died at the hospital. 2 others are expected to survive.
Yeah, that's a sad story. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Lives taken.
Yeah, so the victims haven't been identified just yet.
The place is usually quiet. I haven't really seen no traffic really goes in and out. You hear a little music sometimes, but nothing. You don't see anybody hanging out in front, nothing. I don't know anybody around here, so whoever got I wouldn't know him.
Yeah, Newark police say they're investigating the shooting right now as a hit. They have not made any arrests. And that shooting taking place on the same day that the Essex County Prosecutor's Office was announced that they had made some arrests in that mass shooting that took place last month in Newark that killed 4, including a 10-year-old boy.
It was back on November 15th in Newark's South Ward when 4 people were shot along Chancellor Street, including 10-year-old Jordan Garcia, 19-year-old Macy Rogers, and 21-year-old Kaya May Scott. All 3 died. Jordan Garcia's 11-year-old brother was also hit by gunfire but survived, and it's believed 2 suspects are now in custody. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
And I'll do an update to James' story. It seems maybe they do have 4 people in custody, though we're waiting for the press conference that's going to happen a little bit later this morning from the Essex County's Prosecutor's Office. And of course, I shouldn't say of course, but coming up after 5:30, we're going to hear from some of the victims' families who are happy to hear that at least 2 of the gunmen, maybe all 4, are in custody this morning. Let's bring it back into the city. City Comptroller Brad Lander announcing that he's running for Congress next year.
I'm Brad Lander, Dad Lander, Councilmember Lander, Comptroller Lander, and it would be an honor to serve you as Congressmember Lander.
Yeah, there was a lot of people who were saying they thought this ad was a little weird. So he dropped this video online yesterday. The Progressive Democrat's going to go up against another Democrat, Congressman Dan Goldman, in a primary next year. Lander releasing this video. You heard the jazz music in the background. That's a little strange. Rattling off his accomplishments. He mentions that arrest. You remember he interfered with ICE operations in Lower Manhattan. So, of course, he is wearing that as a badge of honor.
While our neighbors are being demonized and attacked, we can put our bodies on the line to protect them. New York is for everyone.
Yeah, what's with the music?
When Donald Trump and Elon Musk tried to steal $80 million from New York City,
Brad caught it.
And when ICE agents started kidnapping our neighbors, I fought back.
Okay, so Lander is running because he is expected that he'll be endorsed by Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. Mamdani showing at least some of his early muscle, trying to muscle Lander into this race. Lander is a progressive. Dan Goldman's also a Democrat, but apparently not progressive enough for Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. 505, bribery at JFK Airport. 4 executives now charged with greasing their way to big money cargo contracts with a major airline for their companies.
The 4 men were arraigned in Queens criminal court Wednesday on charges of bribery, money laundering, and fraud. The state AG's office says the 4 used a web of companies to pay a Delta Airlines official more than $250,000 over 5 years, plus gifts and trips to Vegas and Atlantic City. The Delta official has yet to be named or charged. The 4 cargo company executives could face 15 years in prison if convicted. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
While we're out at the airport, Uber is about to go old school. They're going to debut their first ever kiosk at LaGuardia Airport.
The company isn't releasing a date, but says it will be soon. Uber believes its kiosk will ease booking problems for travelers with dead cell phone batteries and anyone who'd prefer a low-tech way to book a ride. Tap the screen, enter your destination, pick the type of car you want, and the kiosk will give you a receipt to take the Uber pickup point. LaGuardia will be the rideshare company's first kiosk test site. Additionally, Uber Shuttle is finally launching at Newark Liberty Airport. It's already up and running at LaGuardia and JFK. Lisa G., 77 WABC News.
And if you're one of those people who bought a Powerball ticket ahead of last night's jackpot over $900 million, well, bad news. You didn't win.
Nobody matched all 6 numbers in Wednesday night's lottery drawing for $930 million, so the grand prize will roll over to Saturday's drawing, when a $2 Powerball ticket could be worth $1 billion before taxes. Whoever wins can choose the entire amount over 30 installments or take the one-time cash amount of about $460 million. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Yeah, that would be a sweet Christmas. WABC News Time 508. Actress Winnie Alton-Davis, whose credits include The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, is dead after being hit and killed in Midtown Manhattan. A Cadillac SUV struck the 60-year-old. This was 9 o'clock Tuesday night, but we didn't get the story until late yesterday. She was crossing Broadway at West 53rd Street. The actress, whose real name is Wendy Davis, suffered massive head trauma, died at the hospital. The Cadillac driver, they did remain at the scene, and so far they are not facing any charges. Police continue to investigate that crash. 508 down in D.C., President Trump addressing the latest development in the Caribbean as the U.S. continues to take out alleged drug boats.
We just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually.
The move comes as tensions have escalated between the White House and Venezuelan President Maduro. The U.S. has a large military presence in the Caribbean, has launched deadly strikes against suspected drug boats exiting Venezuela. Fed Chair Jerome Powell not tipping his hand about another interest rate cut after yesterday's 0.25 percentage point reduction. After the cut was announced, Powell went before reporters and said that President Trump's tariffs have, in his words, elevated inflation.
These readings are higher than earlier in the year as inflation for goods has picked up, reflecting the effects of tariffs.
But he also said that the rise in inflation will likely be short-lived and that the central bank will reevaluate its policy with regards to interest rates and wait and see how the economy evolves in terms of another interest rate cut.
Conditions in the labor market appear to be gradually cooling, and inflation remains somewhat elevated. In support of our goals, in light of the balance of risks to employment and inflation, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to lower our policy interest rate by 0.25 percentage point.
Yeah, we'll take it. Powell surprised investors yesterday by saying he expects stronger GDP gains for the U.S. into next year. President Trump says he's launching his Gold Card foreign visa program now.
Funds go to the United States government. Could be a tremendous amount of money. It'll also be able to help people like this keep, as an example, just one example, there are a lot of examples, people just buying them. It's somewhat like a green card, but with big advantages over a green card.
The program aims to attract educated and well-off immigrants who would pay $1 million to the U.S. government for front-of-the-line immigration status.
Companies are going to be able to go to the Wharton School of Finance, the Stern Business School, Harvard, MIT, wherever you may get your students, any school, and you're able to buy a card and keep that person in the United States. And I've heard from a lot of people, some of the people at this table, that essentially in the United States you can't keep the student. You can't hire people from the best colleges because you don't know whether or not you can keep the person.
Now, Homeland Security would verify the applicant got the $1 million through legal means. Corporations can pay $2 million for a version of the gold card that allows them to use that for an employee. The More Affordable Care Act gaining support in Congress. That's the word from its sponsor in the Senate, Republican Rick Scott from Florida. The proposal would take Affordable Care Act subsidies out of the hands of insurance companies and give the money directly to patients.
The Republican Study Committee, led by August Pfluger in the House, is supporting this. And so I think we have a shot at getting it done.
Senator says his plan would bring more transparency to the whole health care process.
We don't need government. We don't need insurance companies that tell us how to do it. If we want to help somebody, which we should, give them the money. Let them buy what they want. Let them negotiate prices.
It is a process that President Trump has spoken out in favor of as a better way to get Americans health care. While we're talking about Rick Scott and Florida, we told you yesterday about that big Miami election where a Democrat won mayor of Miami for the first time in 3 decades. Everybody's trying to analyze what this means, if it means anything towards the midterms, if it's really just a local race. Barry University political scientist Dr. Sean Foreman, he's down in Florida, and he says Mayor-elect Eileen Higgins essentially just ran a better race than the current mayor.
The margin of victory was larger than what some people were expecting, where she got nearly 60% of the vote, so it was convincing and decisive.
Eileen Higgins makes history as the first female to be mayor of Miami. The victory, seen by many, is a statement against President Trump, who endorsed Emilio Gonzalez in his support of immigration crackdowns.
Miami city government has been corrupt and ineffective, and that you just had a bunch of guys sitting around screaming at each other and calling each other names. People really wanted to turn the page on the old Miami, which meant literally getting rid of Carollos, Suarez's, and Diaz de la Portillas from being part of the city government.
Yeah, so Foreman essentially says the victory probably speaks more to residents demanding a new tone in Miami than anything doing with the White House. 5:13, reports say President Trump spoke with top European leaders yesterday about the war between Russia and Ukraine. You'll remember Zelensky was in Europe this week talking with those leaders.
Trump's conversation with French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer came as a part of an intensive effort to broker peace between the two countries. However, ties between the U.S. and Europe have been deteriorating after Trump recently said most of the continent's nations are decaying. He also criticized Ukrainian President Zelensky for not reading his multi-point peace plan. European leaders also had a separate meeting in London this week as proposals go back and forth with Russia on ending its war. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Maria Corina Machado, unable to attend yesterday's ceremony to award her the Nobel Peace Prize, but correspondent Molly Hunter reports the Venezuelan opposition leader still expected in the Norwegian capital.
They released an audio recording, a phone conversation between Maria, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, and the chair of the Nobel Committee earlier today that said she was on her way to Oslo. She would be in Norway. She, of course, has been under a travel ban for most of the last decade, and she explained how many people risked their lives to get her out of Venezuela.
So during the ceremony yesterday, a portrait of Machado was displayed next to an empty chair. It was her daughter, Anna, who accepted the award and read a speech in her mom's absence.
He spoke about political prisoners under the harsh Nicolas Maduro regime. He called attention to children who were abducted after Maduro came to power. He detailed the torture they survived, painting a picture of what Maria was fighting against.
All right, in a moment, we'll tell you why more and more people are stealing items in the self-checkout line. We'll get to that story in a moment, but first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. Start here with off-season baseball news, much to the chagrin of Mets fans everywhere. First baseman Pete Alonso and the Baltimore Orioles are finalizing a 5-year, $155 million contract. Sources did tell ESPN's Jeff Passan yesterday. Alonso, after failing to get the long-term deal that he coveted, made $30 million with the Mets in 2025 and was worth every penny of that contract as he rebounded to slash 272, 347, 524 with 38 home runs and 126 RBIs, then behind Juan Soto for the first time. But the Mets did not make Alonso an offer, sources did confirm. In August, the five-time All-Star became the Mets' all-time leader in home runs, surpassing Darryl Strawberry's previous record of 252 to solidify his place as one of the franchise's top players. He now has 264 career home runs and will most likely hit the rest of them in Oriole orange or Oriole black or Oriole white. I don't know. Would you go with orange?
I think they're orange and black.
I guess you go with orange and black. And Oriole orange and black, Pete Alonso.
So explain this to me, who is not like a huge baseball guy.
Sure.
Why did he want to leave New York?
Well, they didn't give him an offer, Noam Layden.
Oh, so it was just...
you can't stay somewhere that doesn't want you.
But didn't he play well for the Mets?
Yeah, he did.
So why wouldn't they make him an offer?
I don't know. Maybe they have their sights set on somebody else. Maybe they see Edwin Diaz walk out the door, and that says to them, hey, let's just turn this whole card over, right? Let's not mince words here, and let's just kind of go into a complete and utter rebuild in a way this offseason. I mean, Steve Cohen's still the richest owner in baseball. So he's going to do some level of something this offseason to bring the Mets up into, a field of competitiveness that'll probably bring them into the playoff conversation, more than likely. Steve Cohen's not going to go into this season with a team that doesn't have a postseason outlook, I don't think.
What, wasn't Pete Alonso like a fan favorite?
Yeah.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
So that doesn't make... I don't get this.
No, nobody really...
Okay.
Nobody really understands it. But this is the cards that were dealt. This is the cards that Mets fans have to deal with this season. And now you got to go out and get another first baseman. Maybe Cody Bellinger goes across town. Who knows? But, I've heard Alex Bregman as an interesting name that Steve Cohen might be interested in. David Stearns. So we'll see where they're headed now. But they got to start making some moves. Winter meetings ending here in just a couple of days. So we'll see. And the Yankees, for that matter, got to get moving as well. Both teams have been pretty quiet this offseason so far, while other teams are out there making moves. So we'll see. Out in Chicago on the ice, the Rangers got blanked 3-0 by the Blackhawks. Up next for them, they'll host Montreal come Saturday. Tonight on the ice at the doubleheader, 2:07 p.m. puck drops. The Devils welcome in the Lightning. The Islanders host the Ducks. And Week 15 in the NFL getting underway tonight already. Thursday night football, 8:15 p.m. kickoff. 4-9 Falcons are in Tampa Bay against the 7-6 Buccaneers. Bucks 4.5-point favorites there. And a big story out of college football here, Noam. Sharon Moore was taken into custody in a Michigan County jail last night as a suspect in an alleged assault just hours after he was fired as the University of Michigan's head football coach for having what the school said was a, quote, inappropriate relationship with a staff member who was initially detained by police in Saline and turned over to authorities in Pittsfield Township for investigation into potential charges. The 39-year-old spent 2 seasons as Michigan's coach after serving as the team's offensive coordinator. We'll give you more as we find out more with this story.
It's a crazy story.
A lot of question marks. What was he doing at 4:15 p.m. to get arrested? So
he clearly didn't see it coming, because I saw he did an interview yesterday with some news outlet in Detroit.
Yeah, but how could you not see it coming? The university clearly was conducting some level of an investigation. I would assume he was cooperating with that investigation.
I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. But the fact that he was still giving interviews on Tuesday tells me that he didn't know it was coming.
Yeah, but really kills your career, man. I mean, you're the head football coach for the Michigan Wolverines.
But he still gets paid out, right? He's some like $12 million deal.
That's a good question. I would assume.
No, he does.
He does? Okay.
Yeah, he still gets his contract.
So guy still gets his bag. There you go, Sharon Moore. Maybe he doesn't go to jail, and we'll see. That's your Sports Gnome. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Thank you very much, Justin. Traffic, transit now. Here's Joe Nolan.
What a mess. Anyway,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a mess.
What do you think about Pete Alonso? Why didn't they keep him?
They didn't want to give him the amount of years he wanted. That's what I'm guessing. I mean, he's been a star. I would, like I said yesterday, I wouldn't have minded him being in the Bronx, but never really any spot for him. But I mean, he's a great player. Great player.
People love him too.
Yeah.
That's
it too. Your fan base is already a little upset with you because you didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Now you got your closer, and your second best hitter gone. Home run hitter. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Don't know. I don't either. But they'll figure it out. They're not dummies over there in Queens.
Or maybe they are.
Maybe they are. Yeah.
WABC News Time 522. A new study from Lending Tree finds just over 1 in 4 shoppers admit to stealing items while scanning their groceries in the self-checkout line. It's a huge jump from a similar study back in 2023 that found 15% of shoppers never paid for items when they went through self-checkout. Some of those who took part in this study say they felt pressure to shoplift because of skyrocketing prices for everyday items. Others say it was just too easy. So interesting, in the study, 41% of those who said that they would skip scanning items were Gen Z adults. Millennials were almost as high. Just 2% of baby boomers admitted to stealing anything while in the checkout line. There's more in the story, and maybe this is a cheap way of getting you to go to WABCRadio.com, but I wrote a full piece on why people are stealing from self-checkout lines and what retailers and psychologists have to say about that. So head on over to WABCRadio.com for more details on that. Lawmakers in Washington reintroducing a bill that would ban no-knock warrants across the country. The Justice for Breonna Taylor Act was initially introduced following the death of Taylor, who was shot by police during a botched no-knock warrant raid in Louisville, Kentucky back in 2020.
It is time for us to set aside our differences and do what we all say we want to do, which is to make sure that we are all going to be safe, whether we are on the streets or in our homes. This legislation will prevent others from losing their lives unnecessarily.
That's Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who's one of the bill's sponsors, along with Morgan McGarvey of Kentucky and Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. Taylor's mom, Tamika Palmer, she joined lawmakers yesterday at this news conference in D.C., says no-knock warrants are dangerous.
They create confusion, escalate fear, and often end in tragedy for civilians and officers. These raids do not make our communities safer. They tear families apart and destroy trust.
WABC News Time 524, an investigation shows online grocery service Instacart's use of AI led to item prices being hiked by much as 20%.
Consumer Reports and Groundwork Collaborative say AI is helping Instacart gauge how much it can charge for a particular item before shoppers decide not to purchase it. It found the grocery service displayed different prices on the same household items at stores like Albertsons, Costco, Kroger, and Target. The report said the price hikes could cost shoppers more than $1,000 a year. More than 250 million orders were placed through Instacart in the first 3 quarters of this year. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
The holiday travel season expected to set another record this year. Correspondent Brian Chung says it's important to plan ahead to avoid being stuck in traffic.
Saturday and Sunday going into Christmas are going to be bad, as
as is the day after Christmas. That's Friday, December 26th. If you can travel on Christmas Day, that is going to be the best time to travel. If you can afford to leave your festivities perhaps a little bit early.
AAA predicting 122 million Americans will travel 50 miles or more over the holiday period. That extends from December 20th to New Year's Day. That's up about 2%.
AAA is expecting an over 2% bump in travelers.
I think I just said that.
This year, 109 million people expected to travel by car to their destinations for wherever they're having Christmas dinner, in part because of cheaper gas prices. The national average is below $3 a gallon, which should make it a little bit more budget-friendly. That could be in part due to some of the expectations for going to some of these warmer places, where AAA says that the hot destinations will be places like Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Miami, the top domestic destinations as this cold snap grips the country.
Yeah, so more than 8 million people expected to travel by air. Of course, the warm destinations, the most popular, Orlando, Florida, most popular U.S. travel destination. Anaheim, California is popular. So is New York City, of course, because it's Christmas. People love coming here. Vegas, Cancun, Mexico, that tops the list for international destinations by Americans over the Christmas holiday. Arizona Cardinal fans are being flagged as the heaviest drinkers in the NFL. You would think it would be Giants or Jets fans, no?
That's according to the Action Network, who did a survey to find which fans consume the most alcoholic beverages on game days. The results found 18.5% of the Red Sea take down at least 5 adult drinks on days the Cardinals are playing, ranking the highest of all NFL fan bases. The survey also noted Cardinal supporters are the heaviest pre-gamers in the league, consuming 5 or more drinks before the game kicks off. Arizona currently 3-10 so far this season.
Yeah.
I'm Mark Mayfield.
That has something to do with it.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, December 11th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds today. High 39. Tonight and overnight, some clouds. Low 26. And then Friday, sunshine, high 35. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are, it's 36 and cloudy in New Hyde Park out on Long Island. It's 33 and cloudy in Park Ridge over in New Jersey. And it's 35 and partly cloudy right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 5:38. 4 people in custody. That's what Newark police telling us. In last month's mass shooting in the Brick City that left 3 people dead, including a 10-year-old boy, Jordan Garcia. The other victims, Kaya May Scott. She left behind a 3-year-old son, a 19-year-old Mossy Rogers, all fatally shot. Rogers fought for his life for more than a week before succumbing to his injuries. Jordan Garcia, that 10-year-old, his 11-year-old brother, still in the hospital. He was shot as well. So there's all kinds of reaction coming into the fact that those arrests were made. Kia Scott's mother, Annette Ryan, talking to CBS, saying that her daughter was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, picking up groceries at the store when she was caught in the crossfire. And she says a 3-year-old son that she left behind asked for him every single day.
Every day. Now, he just asks, he go like in and out, what happened to my mom? Where's my mom? This hurts so bad.
Ryan says the whole family has since moved out of state. And while they're still in agony, they say the arrests will help a little bit with the healing.
They don't deserve any emotion from me, any words from me, Only they can judge themselves. What they did.
Yeah, the Essex County Prosecutor's Office expected to hold a press conference later this morning with an update on the case. I imagine they'll give us the names of these 4, how they found them, what the motive was behind the shooting.
Glad that they do have them in custody. I appreciate that. They hurt a lot of people. I just want them to know they took our lives from us as well as our children. That's what I want them to know.
Just a horrendous story when it took place last month. And then you had this morning, if you were listening to us earlier this morning at the top of the hour, 5 o'clock, there was another shooting in Newark. It was last night. 2 people killed, 2 others injured outside a music studio. They believe, police, that it was a hit. They were aiming for these people that they shot at outside this music studio. Of course, as more details come in on that gunfire, we'll pass it on to you. Let's bring it back here into the city. There There were more skeletal remains discovered out in Coney Island yesterday afternoon after the discovery of a human skull off the boardwalk on Tuesday. So the skull was found off Riegelman Boardwalk between West 32nd and West 33rd Street. That was about 6 p.m. on Tuesday. So, of course, they brought more people in to figure out what was going on. The medical examiner, the NYPD, continuing to investigate the scene on Wednesday where they found more remains. And people in the neighborhood say this is all pretty frightening and all shocking.
I mean, that's very extreme. That means that they just been there for a very long time, and them just now getting found is real sad.
Police climbed into the heavy brush. There's video showing them removing arms, legs, and some other bones, but they say parts of the body are still missing, so they'll be back there again today. Authorities believe the remains had been there for a pretty long time, but they can't really tell you a whole lot more, at least not yet.
Well, that's concerning because, but it's tough here at night. You see the neighborhood is really difficult to walk around by yourself, especially at night.
Medical examiner will determine the person's cause of death. The identity of the remains, that's just not known yet. 541, actress Winnie Alton-Davis, whose credits include The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, is dead after being hit and killed in Midtown Manhattan Tuesday.
The New York Daily News reports that a Cadillac SUV struck the 60-year-old actress just before 9 o'clock Tuesday night as she crossed Broadway at West 53rd Street. The actress, whose real name was Wendy Davis, suffered massive head trauma and did die at the hospital. The Cadillac SUV driver remained on the scene. There have been no immediate charges filed. Cops continuing to investigate. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
Let's go out to LaGuardia. Uber debuting its first ever kiosk there. Uber believes its kiosk will ease booking problems for travelers who show up with dead cell phone batteries after being on a flight, or anybody who just wants the low-tech old way to book a ride. Remember those days where you just showed up at the taxi stand? So there'll be some sort of screen at this kiosk where you can tap it, enter your destination, see how much the car is going to cost, and then they'll give you a receipt to take to the Uber pickup point. It's the first time Uber is trying this out anywhere across the country. LaGuardia will be the rideshare company's first kiosk test site. Not clear exactly when they'll set that up. 542, congestion pricing is apparently improving pollution in Midtown Manhattan. It is a nightmare, by the way, getting around the city right now. Now, some of that is obviously the tourists and everybody coming in to see the Christmas tree and everything else that's great about Christmas in December in New York. But it has been a nightmare to drive around the last couple of weeks. And I will say the congestion pricing, as somebody who's a regular driver into the city, it takes me 17 minutes in the morning to get from Jersey City to my desk that I sit at, which is really incredible. That's how quiet it is at 2 in the morning. When I leave now, it takes an hour to get home. So 16 minutes in the morning, an hour to get home. I would suggest congestion pricing is not working as well as they thought. But they say, Cornell researchers saying congestion pricing has led to a 22% increase in air pollution within the zone at or below 60th Street.
Thought it would be a little bit higher.
How can they prove that the correlation with the new fees or correlation with the reduction of pollution? I don't believe so.
I don't know about 22%, but I would believe it went down a little bit.
Yeah, there's some people in Midtown who are saying, I don't know. The report is also showing declines across the city's 5 boroughs and surrounding suburbs. It comes as the MTA touted an 11% dip in traffic within the first 6 months of the toll going into effect. I don't believe that. I'm thinking the first 6 months, maybe. It's back to normal now, I can tell you, just from somebody who's a daily driver. It is just as bad as it's always been, except now you got to pay the toll. Despite the data showing drops in traffic and noise complaints, people say they don't necessarily notice a difference in Midtown.
But honestly, it's just another way to bring money to the city.
We still have traffic like crazy. They just want money, that's all. That's a trick.
We never know where that money went, so I think that is an issue here in the city, is that we don't always see the money.
Yeah, the promise was, right? Do you remember the promise was lower pollution and less traffic. Maybe there's lower pollution, but there's definitely not less traffic.
I think it did a little bit for a little while, but not during the holidays right now.
No.
I would say it's back up.
Yeah.
I mean, I live close by here. It's so busy right now.
No, it's still crowded because we're in the Lincoln Tunnel. That's why. So when the Lincoln Tunnel gets clogged up, this whole place gets stuck, bumper to bumper traffic.
Yeah, it's been terrible as of late. I know some of that's Christmas, but even before the season started, traffic is back to normal in Midtown. At least that's my experience. All right, 5:45. Let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Ella.
Took me 35 minutes to get from here 20 blocks downtown yesterday in a taxi.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, because then I had to go down, so we had to go cross over on 50th here, make a right, and it maybe took 7-8 minutes just to get from 49th to 50th. Like, that's how big the gridlock was.
I can't figure out if they've closed off that area near the tree, because normally I just shoot across town down 51st Street.
Yeah.
I can't do that anymore, so now I have to cut down, and it's just bumper to bumper. I was ready to kill somebody yesterday.
Seriously. I mean, it's at the point. Yeah, it's at the point now you're watching the fare go up.
Yeah.
If you're in a taxi and you're sitting there, you're like, I'm better off getting out and walking.
Yeah.
You know, I get there quicker too. I'm walking faster than traffic. Anyway. It's a headache for everybody. We'll start with here sports. There's
a headache there, too.
Yeah, exactly. For Mets fans, that is. Pete Alonso and the Baltimore Orioles finalizing a 5-year, $155 million contract. Sources told ESPN's Jeff Passan yesterday. Alonso, after failing to get a long-term deal that he coveted, made $30 million with the Mets in 2025, and he was worth every penny as he rebounded to slash .272, .347, .524 with 38 home runs and 126 RBIs. Been behind Juan Soto for the first time. But the Mets did not make Alonso an offer. Sources did also confirm. In August, the five-time All-Star became the Mets' all-time leader in home runs, surpassing Darryl Strawberry's previous record of 252 to solidify his place as one of the franchise's top players. Alonso now has 264 home runs, and he most likely will be hitting the rest of them in Orioles orange and black. Head to the ice here in Chicago.
I was looking at a friend of mine who's gigantic, ridiculous Mets fan.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what he's so upset. He went to social media and he wrote, "The pain the Mets have brought the last 2 days will probably never be forgotten, but I think it's necessary to thank Pete Alonso for being such a great Met since his arrival back in 2019. I know it wasn't all perfect, but someone we were proud to have represented us." Now he says, "I'm too irrational to share anything more, but I'm not sure I want to be a Mets fan anymore." Wow. And this is a guy lifelong, goes to all the games, everything.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I'll reiterate my point that I made a half an hour ago. They still got very deep pockets. So to say that this will never be forgotten is a bit of a far shot there, because it could be forgotten in 3 weeks' time if the Mets go out and get a couple of big studs. And then Mets fans are singing a different tune all of a sudden. Sayonara Pete Alonso is coming out of their mouths.
Right. All right. You might be right.
Yeah, I could be. Who knows? We'll see. Only time will tell. On Chicago, Rangers got blanked 3-0 by the Blackhawks. Up next for them, they'll host Montreal come Saturday night. 2 hockey games tonight on the ice. 2 7 p.m. puck drops there. The Devils are welcoming the Lightning. Islanders host the Ducks. Week 15 in the NFL getting underway tonight, being it's Thursday. 8:15 p.m. kickoff. 4-9 Falcons are at the 7-6 Buccaneers. Tampa Bay, their 4.5-point home favorites. And big news out of the college football world here. Sharon Moore was taken into custody in a Michigan County jail last night as a suspect in an alleged assault, just hours after he was fired as the University of Michigan's head football coach for having what the school said was a, quote, inappropriate relationship with a staff member. He was initially detained by police in Saline and turned over to authorities in Pittsfield Township, quote, for investigation into potential charges. The 39-year-old spent 2 seasons as Michigan's coach after serving as the team's offensive coordinator. So we'll keep you updated on what the case there is.
Are they calling it a sex assault? They haven't named it?
They haven't. Yeah, they haven't named what the crime is exactly, but I do know it happened somewhere around 4:15 local time there in Michigan yesterday. He was detained and taken into custody. So we'll see. I'm sure you'll hear more about this story today, if not in the coming days. So we'll keep you updated. That's your Sports Gnome, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:50. Apparently, it is the most most wonderful time of year for pickpockets in Midtown.
Hold on to your hat or your wallet. The NYPD's pickpocket unit is on high alert this holiday season. Cops are on the ground looking for thieves who bump and shove and try to grab whatever you've got. So pickpocket unit cops are on patrol citywide, weaving through crowds and keeping an eye on shoppers and sightseers. Police say street thieves are typically after cell phones, wallets, credit cards, and cash. Their advice is to stay alert and keep your valuables secured so you don't become a victim. Lisa Ritchie, 77 WABC News.
Yeah, that's the whole, put it in your front pocket, right? Harder to get there. Luigi Mangione's lawyers zeroing in on his arrest as they try to get key evidence tossed from the murder case. Correspondent Stephanie Gosk reports body camera video shown during a pretrial hearing shows officers responding to the Pennsylvania McDonald's where Mangione was arrested.
A judge making the body cam footage public for the first time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The restaurant's manager called 911 after customers raised the alarm.
An officer searched Mangione's backpack without a warrant during the encounter, testifying there were concerns that there might be a bomb inside. But lawyers showed body camera footage of customers walking by, and the officer confirmed police never evacuated that restaurant.
In court Tuesday, a responding officer, Stephen Fox, testifying he escorted the Ivy League grad to his arraignment exactly 1 year ago. And Mangione reacted to the crowd in the courtroom, saying, all these people are here for a mass murderer. Wild.
Gosk also reporting that Mangione's lawyers want items found in their client's backpack excluded as evidence.
Officer Fox telling the court, I was afraid that there was an item in that bag that could harm human life. Prosecutors say that concern for safety justified a warrantless search.
You may have heard Alan Dershowitz was on with Sid and Friends in the morning, and he was suggesting even if they don't have the evidence that they're trying to exclude, like the backpack, there's still enough there to prosecute and find Mangione guilty. The PATH system is entering its next phase of the tap-and-go payment system.
Now there will be new payment cards and machines introduced because the Metro card is going extinct. These are called TAP cards, T-A-P-P. TAP cards can be stored in a wallet. They have data stored in the cloud and can be reloaded online with funds available almost instantly. The system also allows riders to pay just by tapping their phone or digital wallet. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
Prosecutors in Union County, New Jersey, announcing murder charges against a man allegedly involved in a house fire that killed an 82-year-old woman last summer. This is a wild story. So 70-year-old William Ale told authorities that he ran into a burning home back in July in Fanwood to save a woman there. Now, 5 months later, a SWAT team showed up at Ale's home and arrested him as a suspect in setting the fire. Several neighbors say they were just floored when they found out that Ale had been taken into custody.
It's very surprising. Was in a hospital with a lot of bad burns. Have tried to rescue her, so I really find that hard to believe.
So Ale's story back in July was that he was walking the dog. This was about 1:30 in the morning when he saw the fire and rushed into his neighbor's garage to try and get her out, but was pushed back by heavy flames. Union County Prosecutor's Office no longer believes that story, and they confirmed his arrest yesterday afternoon. That is, neighbors on the block. You can imagine, this is a guy who was known as mayor of the block. So I mean, he was well known. I'm sure you have somebody, if you live in a community, who everybody knows. That was this guy.
I can just say that I'm shocked. I mean, he's a neighbor, and he seems like a good guy. So,
and he originally helped her. We thought he saved her.
So it doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand.
He's like known as the mayor of the street.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because he's very helpful.
He looks out for a lot of people around the neighborhood.
Yeah, so Ale charged now with first-degree murder, first-degree felony murder, first-degree burglary, second-degree aggravated arson. Looks like if he's found guilty, he'll be sent away to prison for a long time. 5:55, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman was on with Sid and Friends in the morning yesterday. He says he's ignoring his Republican opponent in the GOP primary next year, Elise Stefanik, who has been going hard after him since he made his announcement.
I'm not running against Elise. I'm running against Kathy Hochul. I'm going to keep my eye on the ball. I feel that my record speaks for itself.
After Blakeman announced on Tuesday that he was going to run in a GOP primary against Stefanik next year, Stefanik's campaign reacted, saying, this was their quote, "After a career of colluding with Democrats, Blakeman's swan song is choosing to prop up Kathy Hochul," and then accused Blakeman of putting his ego above New Yorkers. They're not messing around. Asked about that, Blakeman responded, saying her comments don't bother him.
It doesn't bother me in the least. I got to tell you, each and every day, I'm going to get up and I'm going to bring my case to the people on how I would be a better governor than Kathy Hochul.
Blakeman, refusing to attack Elise Stefanik, says he's going after Governor Hochul. That's his target. And we'll end with this story. Here's a warning. We were talking about congestion pricing and how it doesn't seem to be working so well right now. Come Sunday, it's just going to be a mess in the city. New York City's Department of Transportation is going to open up Fifth Avenue, exclusive leap to pedestrians on Sunday. So be warned.
With the tourists, I'm not going past Times Square.
Crazy, hectic, but fun, I guess. You know, love the New York Christmas spirit.
Maybe I'll sneak in a tree visit, but late at night, I do not like crowds.
Yeah, so stay away from Fifth Avenue between noon and 6 p.m. on Sunday. That's when they're going to close off blocks from 49th to 56th Street. Oh, man, it's going to be bad.
It's a little hectic. It's no big deal. It happens all the time.
No, it's a big deal.
Every year, you live in the city, you work in the city long enough. It's just part of the cycle, so you just deal with it.
I look forward to it every year. It's crowded, it's pushy, it's whatever, but it's part of New York.
Yeah, probably better if you want to be with the crowds is take a train or a bus in. 5:57, traffic, transit on the 7th. Here's Joel Nolan.
And it might snow on Sunday, too.
Oh, cool.
So add an extra attraction.
Right.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Take my word for it. I live there. Come to Florida. Get pre-approved right now with my guy Michael Kotze. Call him at 561-441-2730. He's got Choice Mortgage and a great real estate team. Get pre-approved right now. Michael Kotze, 561-441-2730. Buy in Florida right now. Don't wait. Save money on state taxes. Make your move today with Choice Mortgage. Trust me, Florida is waiting. This guy's so good, he did my commercials in Florida too. Mike Kotze, 561-441-2730. A ride.